Welcome to the deep dive. We know there's just so much information out there, it's overwhelming, right? So here we try to cut through that, give you clarity, maybe some surprising insights. And today, we're diving into something really critical, the world of financial and investment scams. It's getting slicker, more global. This deep dive is really built to help you navigate it all, understand the hidden dangers.
Absolutely. And we're working from a pretty comprehensive report today. It really breaks down the anatomy of these scams, the types, the global picture, and how to actually protect yourself. Our mission really is to pull out the crucial nuggets, the things you absolutely need to know so you can spot these schemes and, well, avoid them.
Okay, let's start there. We hear scam all the time, but the source makes a distinction, right, between just a general financial scam and an investment scam specifically. What's the key difference?
That's a great starting point. So general financial scams, that's a really wide net. Think identity theft, phishing emails, those fake lottery wins. But investment scams, they're a specific beast. They're laser focused on tricking you with false promises about making money, about financial returns. And what's interesting, the report points out these investment ones are often way more costly and, frankly, incredibly common, even though they might use some of the same tricks as other scams.
Right, so the promise of growth is key. Okay, understanding that, the report then details this sort of step-by-step playbook scammers use. How do these things actually unfold from that first contact
Right.
to the end game?
Yeah, it typically kicks off with someone reaching out to you, unsolicited, maybe social media, a dating app, email, even a cold call. And a big tactic early on is catfishing, using fake profiles, fake identities. They might pretend to be, a finance whiz, a super successful investor. Sometimes it's even romance-based. Professing love really quickly to build this intense emotional hook.
So that first contact is all about getting a foot in the door, building some kind of connection, fake though it is. What happens next? How do they build on that initial contact?
This next part is honestly where it gets really insidious. They invest time, sometimes weeks, sometimes months, just grooming the victim. This is that whole pig butchering idea we hear about. It's pure emotional manipulation to get your guard down. They'll share fake success stories, show off supposed wealth, maybe fake bank statements, doctored photos. We're even seeing AI-enhanced videos now, maybe mimicking legitimate sources. It's all about building an illusion.
Wow, AI videos too, so it's not just a quick lie, it's a long game, building this whole false reality. Okay, so after weeks or months of this grooming, then the fake investment opportunity comes up.
Exactly. Once they feel that trust is locked in, then they introduce the quote-unquote opportunity. And it usually has all the classic red flags we should be looking for. Promises of unusually high returns, maybe even guaranteed returns, with little or no risk. It's often pitched as something exclusive or time-sensitive, gotta act now, and involves maybe fake platforms for stocks, crypto, real estate. And crucially, these operations are almost always unregistered. They're operating outside any real regulatory oversight.
And they don't just ask for a huge sum right away, do they? The report mentions something about demonstrating false success. How does that work?
Right, this is key to building confidence. They'll often let you make a small initial investment, and then on their fake platform or through fake reports, they'll show you making profits. They might even let you withdraw a small amount of these fake profits. It feels real. But it's all smoke and mirrors. It's designed to make you think, wow, this actually works. So you'll be comfortable putting in much larger amounts of money later.
That's clever and cruel. So you get hooked, you think you're winning, and then they start to really squeeze you for more money.
That's the escalation phase. Once you're convinced it's legitimate and you've put in more money, they start hitting you with reasons you need to send even more. Maybe it's fake taxes or processing fees or some made-up regulatory charge you need to pay before you can access your big payout. They'll push victims to borrow money, cash out retirement accounts like IRAs, liquidate other assets. And the report even mentions something really concerning. Sometimes unscrupulous custodians, like third-party firms that are supposed to hold assets safely, might get involved, maybe not realizing it's a scam, which just adds this false layer of security for the victim.
That's chilling, the idea that even seemingly legitimate channels could be part of the pipeline, and then inevitably it all falls apart.
Inevitably. The end game is always the same. The victim tries to withdraw their money, maybe their supposed big profit, or they just stop putting new money in. And suddenly, access is denied. The website disappears. The scammer ghosts them. Or sometimes they'll demand even more money to supposedly unlock the funds. That's when the reality hits. The entire investment was fake. The platform was fake. The money is gone.
Okay, so we've seen the disturbing process. Now let's talk specifics. The report outlines a whole gallery of scam types. Right. From the old classics to the newer tech-enabled ones.
Yeah, it covers the spectrum. You've got the timeless ones. Ponzi schemes, for instance,
Yep.
named after Charles Ponzi, of course. Basically, returns paid to early investors come from the money brought in by newer investors. There's no real profit being generated. It just looks successful until it runs out of new money and collapses.
Right.
Then there are pyramid schemes. Similar, but they rely almost entirely on recruiting new members who pay fees. The money flows up the pyramid. Again, mathematically unsustainable. It has to crash.
And pump and dumps. We hear about those with stocks, sometimes crypto.
It's exactly pump and dump schemes. Fraudsters pick an asset, often a low-priced penny stock, or maybe a lesser-known crypto coin. They spread false or misleading positive information to hype it up the pump. As the price climbs because others buy in, the scammers sell off their holdings at the inflated price, the dump. Then the price crashes, leaving everyone else holding the bag.
So those are the foundations, but how are these evolving? You mentioned pig butchering earlier, and crypto seems central to a lot of modern scams.
Hugely central. Cryptocurrency investment scams are just rampant. Fake exchanges, fake trading apps, fraudulent initial coin offerings, or ICOs, basically fundraising for non-existent crypto projects. Often, the contact starts on social media or, worryingly, dating apps. They lure you onto their fake platform, and your money is either stolen directly or just locked up so you can never withdraw it.
And the pig butchering again.
Yes, the relationship investment scams, often called pig butchering. This blends romance scam tactics with investment fraud. They build deep emotional connections, sometimes romantic, over weeks or months, then introduce the fake investment, usually crypto. The double betrayal, emotional and financial, is just devastating for victims.
That's awful. Okay, besides those big ones, what other types does the report flag that people should be aware of?
There's quite a list. Affinity fraud, for example, is really nasty. It targets specific groups, maybe religious communities, ethnic groups, professional organizations.
Yeah.
The scammer pretends to be one of them or uses a trusted leader within the group to
That's
gain
the
credibility.
thing, community trust.
Exactly. Then you have high-yield investment programs, HYIPs. These promise crazy high returns, like daily or weekly profits, way beyond any realistic market performance. Almost always unregistered scams. They're also investment coaching or training scams. They charge huge fees for courses or mentorships that claim to teach you secrets to wealth, but the training is worthless, full of fake testimonials. We also see scams involving precious metals or real estate. Misleading claims about the value or rarity of metals, or selling investments in property developments that don't actually exist.
And what about people who've already been scammed? Are they targeted again?
Sadly, yes. That's the recovery room scam. Fraudsters contact people who lost money in a previous scam, claiming they can help recover the lost funds, for an upfront fee, of course. They just end up stealing more money.
Unbelievable.
And one more, funnel accounts, also known as money mule schemes. This is where scammers trick ordinary people into letting illicit money pass through their bank accounts. They might not even realize they're laundering criminal funds, making them unwitting accomplices.
And just to be clear, the source distinguishes these investment-focused scams from the broader world of general financial fraud, the kind you might run into day to day.
Right. It's helpful context. Beyond investment promises, you have things like imposter scams, someone pretending to be from your bank, the government, tech support, even a grandchild in trouble, sometimes using AI voice cloning now to sound convincing. They create urgency or panic to get you to send money or give info.
That AI voice cloning is terrifying.
It really is.
Yeah.
Then the basics. Phishing, smishing, vishing fake emails, texts, calls trying to steal your passwords, account numbers, personal details, lottery or prize scams. You've won. Just pay this small fee to claim your prize. Of course, there is no prize. Business email compromise, BEC, usually targets companies. Hackers compromise business email accounts to trick employees into making fraudulent payments. And advanced fee schemes. Generally, any scam where you have to pay a fee up front to receive something of greater value later, a loan, a grant, an inheritance which never actually materializes, these rely more on trickery and urgency than promises of investment growth.
Okay, that is a lot of ways people can be deceived. Which brings us to the vital question. How can you, the listener, actually spot these things and protect yourself? The report lays out some clear red flags, right?
Yes, and these flags often apply across both investment and general financial scams. First big one, unsolicited offers. If someone contacts you out of the blue, cold call, random text, social media message offering an amazing opportunity, be immediately skeptical.
Huge red flag. What else?
Guaranteed high returns with little or no risk. This is probably the single biggest warning sign for investment scams. All legitimate investments involve risk. Anyone promising guaranteed high returns is likely lying.
Okay.
Pressure to act quickly. Scammers don't want you to think or do research, so they create false urgency. This offer ends today. Limited spots available.
Right. Stop you from checking it out.
Exactly. Also, a lack of documentation. Legitimate investments have paperwork prospectuses, financial statements. Scammers often can or won't provide real documentation. Requests for payment in cryptocurrency or wire transfers. Why? Because these methods are very hard to trace and almost impossible to reverse once sent. Scammers love them. Legitimate firms usually offer more standard payment options.
Makes sense.
Check for unregistered advisors or firms. Always verify if the person or company is registered with financial regulators like the SEC, AFI-NRA, or your state's authority. If they're not registered, run away. Be wary of complex or secretive strategies. If they can't explain clearly how the investment works or they say it's too complex or secret, that's another warning sign. And finally, watch out for emotional manipulation. Scammers exploit emotions: fear, greed, loneliness, hope. If the pitch feels more like it's playing on your feelings than presenting facts, be careful.
So a whole checklist of things to watch for. Now, here's something that surprised me in the report. Who is actually most vulnerable? It's maybe not who we immediately assume.
That's true. It's not just one group. The report identifies a few key demographics. Older adults, unfortunately, are often targeted because they may have accumulated savings and might sometimes be more isolated or trusting. New investors are also a target, especially those excited about new things like crypto, but maybe unfamiliar with the risks or how markets really work.
Yeah.
Also, individuals actively seeking financial independence or early retirement, they can be susceptible to those get-rich-quick promises. And linking back to the manipulation, people experiencing loneliness or emotional vulnerability are prime targets for romance or relationship-based investment scams. But it's not only older people. The report explicitly notes that younger individuals are heavily targeted through social media and sometimes fake job offers, often involving cryptocurrency payments or investments. So really, everyone needs to be vigilant.
It really cuts across ages and situations then. Okay. Knowing the flags, knowing the targets. What's the bottom line? What actionable steps can you take to protect your finances and, frankly, your peace of mind?
The source is very clear on this. Number one, verify credentials. Before you even think about investing, check if the professional or firm is licensed and registered. Use official databases from regulators.
Crucial first step.
Absolutely. Second, never share personal financial information, bank account details, credit card numbers, social security, or equivalent ID numbers with someone who contacted you unexpectedly. Just don't do it. Third, do your own research. Don't just rely on what they tell you. Search the company name, the person's name, plus words like scam, complaint, review. See what comes up independently.
Good advice.
Fourth, avoid emotional decisions. If you feel pressured, rushed, or overly excited or fearful about an offer, step back. Talk to a trusted, impartial financial advisor or even family or friends before making any commitments. Fifth, only invest through regulated, licensed financial services firms. Period. Avoid platforms or individuals operating outside the established financial system. And finally, critically, report suspicious activity, even if you didn't lose money. Report it to the relevant authorities, SEC, FTC, FBI's IC3 in the U.S., or your country's equivalent. Reporting helps track scammers and protect others.
That's really practical advice. Okay, let's zoom out again. We've talked about how these scams work and how to spot them, but the sheer scale, it's hard to grasp. What does the report say about the global impact, the actual numbers?
The numbers are genuinely staggering. The report estimates that over $1 trillion was stolen globally through scams in the past year alone, 2023 into 2024.
$1 trillion.
$1 trillion. Just let that sink in. That's more than the GDP of many countries. It shows this isn't just petty crime, it's a massive global criminal enterprise. Focusing on the U.S. for a moment, in just the first quarter of 2025, reported losses to investment scams hit $1.5 billion. That's from nearly 30,000 reported cases in just 3 months.
Wow.
The median loss per victim in the U.S. during that quarter was $3,021. That's up from $2,500 in the same period the year before, so the cost per victim is rising. And there's an age dimension, too. While people aged 40-49 reported the most incidents, victims over 80 had the highest median loss, a heartbreaking $25,000. Although the total dollar amount lost was highest among the 50-59 age group.
Just devastating, especially for older folks losing that much. And cryptocurrency is a huge driver behind these massive losses, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Crypto has become, the preferred tool for many scammers. Why? It's fast, it crosses borders easily, transactions are usually irreversible, and it offers a degree of pseudonymity. In Q1 2025 alone, the report links $472 million in losses directly to crypto scams. And get this, investment scams make up almost half, 48% of all reported crypto-related scams, but they account for 60% of all the cryptocurrency value that ends up in scammers' wallets.
Yeah.
So investment fraud is the biggest moneymaker in crypto crime.
Hmm.
Its use in scams has just exploded since 2020, and honestly, 2025 looks like it's continuing that trend.
So crypto fuels it. Where are these operations based, and how are they reaching people all over the world?
Geographically, the report points to Asia, especially Southeast Asia, as a major hub for some of the large-scale operations, particularly those pig-butchering call centers that often target victims in places like Europe and North America. But it's not just there. Investigations uncovered big networks running investment scams out of call centers in Israel, various parts of Europe, even Georgia, generating hundreds of millions in illicit revenue.
So it's truly global. And how do they make first contact? You mentioned social media.
Social media is huge. In early 2025, 42% of investment scam victims said the first contact came via social media. Instagram and Facebook were the top platforms mentioned. But the older methods are still very much in play. Phone calls are still big, as are text messages, WhatsApp, even regular email like Gmail and SMS. They're hitting people from every possible angle.
It really feels like an onslaught. Now, you mentioned something fascinating earlier, this gap between how confident people feel about spotting scams and the reality of getting money back. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, it's a really striking statistic. Globally, about two-thirds of people, 67%, say they feel confident they can detect a scam. There's this sense of, oh, I wouldn't fall for that.
Right. We all think that.
We do. But then you look at the recovery numbers. The report found that worldwide, only 4% of scam victims managed to recover any of their lost money.
Only 4%.
4%. So there's this huge disconnect between perceived ability and the actual outcome. It suggests that maybe confidence is bordering on complacency for many people. The scammers are clearly better than most people realize.
That 4% number is just brutal. And beyond the money, the report touches on the broader toll, right? Financial and emotional.
Absolutely. The financial impact can be crippling, not just for individuals, but even for economies. In some countries, like Pakistan mentioned in the report, estimated scam losses were equivalent to over 4% of the entire country's GDP. That's massive. Even in wealthier countries, the individual hit is significant. Americans lost an average of $3,520 per reported scam incident recently. But the emotional impact, that's often harder to quantify, but just as devastating. Victims talk about intense fear, feeling violated, profound vulnerability, a huge loss of trust not just in others, but sometimes in their own judgment. It can damage relationships, lead to depression, anxiety. The fallout is immense.
It really paints a grim picture. So, wrapping this up, thinking about everything we've uncovered from the source, what's the core message for you, our listener? What's the most important thing to take away from this deep dive?
I think the clearest takeaway is that knowledge and constant vigilance are truly your best defense. These scams are sophisticated, they're emotionally manipulative, and they're constantly evolving. You have to be skeptical, especially of unsolicited offers. You have to verify things independently, and crucially, you can't let promises that sound too good to be true or pressure tactics override your common sense and critical thinking.
And that prevention piece is key, right, given that recovery statistic.
Exactly. With only a 4% chance of getting money back globally, prevention is everything. Once the money is sent, especially via crypto or wire, it's almost certainly gone for good. You have to stop it before it happens.
So be vigilant, verify, trust your gut if something feels off. Okay, here's something for you to think about after we wrap up. We live in a world where AI can fake voices, create deepfake videos, making scams incredibly convincing. Emotional manipulation, as we've seen, is at the heart of so many of these schemes. So maybe the ultimate defense isn't just about being tech-savvy or relying on regulations. Maybe it's about better understanding human psychology, our own vulnerabilities, our biases, our emotional triggers. Could understanding ourselves be the key to truly fortifying against financial fraud in the future?